All right, folks, we're gonna get to training now and apply some of the concepts we just talked about. Like very briefly, right? Grip, like hold, crush, stable, right? Target focus, it's gonna make the sight go where we want, and then we allow the gun to recoil and just look where we want it to go, and it should come back to us. Very simple things to talk about, very hard things to actually do. So I'll shoot a few reps on this for you and you'll get a good idea of what we want the training to look like. Okay, so the procedure for the drill, at the tone, I'm gonna draw the pistol, look at a small spot on the target, then I'm gonna fire an aggressive pair. Pop, pop. Let everything settle down, and then another aggressive pair. Let everything settle down, and another aggressive pair. The pace I just shot, shooting a little group like that, was that as aggressive as I could go? No, and if you're shooting a group like that, what am I gonna tell you to do? Yeah, we'd be like, all right, that's cool, go faster. Like you have to go aggressively enough that the grip that you're working, it starts to come apart, that you start to get stressed. Okay. Okay. All right, now they're still going into a small pattern like that. Was that like more the speed that we want? Yes. Now, one thing to point out here, we're not assessing the draw time. Meaning, like, I don't care if it's like 0.8 or 1.2 or like, we're not assessing it. What we want is that you get a grip that you judge as acceptable and then you start shooting. So we're gonna be rushing the shooting part, so to speak, but not so much the grip part. Okay, let's go a little harder. All right, it's not starting to come apart yet. I will introduce some errors now. Okay. Okay, now I just gave you two really common error patterns. All right, the first error I gave you was I drew, and then what did I connect to? Draw and connect to the red dot. And then it was first shot here, second shot here, first shot here, second shot here. Then I realized I was doing that. I was like, oh, don't do that. And then I started to drive down on the gun. First shot, second shot, first shot, second shot. Did you guys see that? Sort of. Like what the goal of shooting this exercise is that you shoot aggressively enough that this stuff starts to happen and you can see it and articulate it. You're like, yeah, I see what I'm doing. Or like, yep, like my hand did this and I'm driving the gun down. My support hand's not staying connected and then my dominant hand takes over. As soon as I draw and I'm looking at that dot, I just stare at that thing and I'm just shooting red on brown, whatever. Like you're like, yes, this is what I'm doing. You can see it and articulate it. All right. It's not so much that we want you to shoot really tighty groups. That's not the exercise, or that's not the point of this. Instead, we want you to walk away from this being like, okay, yeah, I see what the tendency is. I see what I'm doing when I start to shoot aggressively. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, the other thing to point out here is that in these, like the second example, I should say, the second bad example, I just drew and I was way too tense with my firing hand, and then it was like driving on the gun and trigger freeze. And you could see that right away, right? Yes? Yes, heard it. Yeah, you could, yeah, you're like, that's not good. Like, yeah, that's what you want. It's like you start to do that stuff, and again, you see it, you can feel it. You're like, yep, that's not the thing to do. And then you start working to change those habits. Like, you have to shoot aggressively or you're not really going to see what's going on. The plan for this is to shoot a lot of rounds. We've got red, blue line, yellow line back there. We'll shoot like a load of mags from each one of these lines. All right? And then kind of assess, and then you back up and you shoot some more. Then you get a good look at it as the pattern changes. What we want is that you generate a pattern on this target, 50 rounds at a time or whatever, and then it'll be, hey, dude, are you feeling when you push these down? And you'd be like, yes or no. It's pretty plain. And if the answer is no, that's okay. We want to be like, no, I don't feel that. And it's like, all right, cool. We're going to back up and keep going. Your job is to keep shooting this aggressively. Don't slow down. Keep shooting fast. And now it's your job to feel, like connect what's happening. Like, oh yeah, I feel my hand twitching and I see the dot flick down and I see the holes appearing. Like, I get it. I'm getting it now. Does that, like, that's what we want. It's not that you start putting them all in the middle. We want, as you see these high ones, we'll be like, oh, are you seeing yourself flip onto the dot? And you're like, no, I don't call those. If you're focused on the sight and not focused on the target, you're gonna probably register your hits as better, because you'll see brown behind red. You'll be like, yeah, it looks good. It's on the target, and you'll call it and shoot it. And then your hits tend to blow out and they tend to climb up high. Right? You understand what I'm saying? Like, again, we're gonna try to connect this stuff together as we shoot a lot of repetitions on this. Make sense to everyone? Yes. All right. The way we're gonna run it is we'll split you up into 2 groups, and then each group is gonna have 2 relays, blue and red relay, and then we'll shoot blue relay, then